Ooh, and we're live. I forgot to take the splash screen down. Hello to you, Tanya. How are you?
I'm very, very good. How are you?
Not too bad. The more observant viewers may have noticed that Christelle is not here this week, but she's coming, apparently. She's been having Wi-Fi issues, so we kind of waited a little bit to see if she'd turn up, and she's just sent one said, should be on in 2 minutes, ugh. So she sent me a WhatsApp message, so hopefully she'll appear at some point.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So you are not a new person to this show. You were on many moons ago, I think like November 2020 or something along those lines.
True. So almost 2 years, yeah.
Yeah. So that was that still in lockdown? Or was that yeah, I think so.
Yep.
So, but anybody who missed that previous show, maybe because I don't know, they had a massive emergency that meant they couldn't watch the show that everybody in the world is watching. Can you describe to the viewers who Tanya? I'm going to get his surname wrong now. Is it Dzido or Dzido?
Dzido, but yeah,
Dzido.
It's yeah. You're very, very close to it. The correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
So my name is Tanya. I'm a digital marketing specialist. I'm also a personal branding and LinkedIn coach and women empowerment professional. So basically, what I've done for the last 6 years, I'm an entrepreneur, and I've started all these like passion projects and things that basically revolve all around marketing and branding and empowering others to use the power of digital channels and our lovely social media to get to their audience and to improve their careers, their businesses, their lifestyles. And here's Christelle. Hi.
Oh, sorry I'm late. I had weird Wi-Fi situation happening.
Yeah, it's been mentioned on the show already. So.
I even took a picture to show Tim. But here I am. I don't know what that was.
So, yeah, Tanya was just describing who she is.
Yay.
So,
and I missed it.
You already know all those things, so no worries. You haven't done anything.
The only thing I don't know is I think you're back in Croatia. Are you?
Yes, I came back to Croatia in December 2020. And it was supposed to be just like a short period of time, like to spend Christmas with my family and everything. But I ended up staying here like forever. And I kind of love it here. I came back and suddenly all things like fell into place, and business wise, personal wise, and all different areas of my life came together. So I'm happy here, but I'm more than happy to visit UK again and US. So yeah, we'll see.
You know, on my list of places I want to travel is Croatia. So when that actually comes about, I will have to get in touch and see how to do so, where to go, all of that. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it definitely is. So hopefully you'll move it up on your to-do list and you'll come here. And of course, I will be your host and I will share all the tips and tricks and everything. So you're more than welcome.
I love that. Tim, can I ask her a question? I'm not sure where you are.
No, I've just asked. Well, as I was saying to Tanya during the pre-chat when we were panicking you weren't going to be on. Normally on the show, I ask a question and you ask a question, which gives me time to then think of the next question to ask, and it works quite well. But I get, depending on how much coffee I've drunk, sometimes I can do an interview on my own. But I prefer one. So I have a very simple. I mean, Book Chat Live's fine because you can just talk about this book and then like tune out for 20 minutes, but this show involves a bit more mental acuity if it's just one of us. So on that waffle, please ask a question.
So the answer is yes. I have a couple of questions, and the reason why I asked you back on is because I noticed that your pictures have changed. It's almost, you're taking beautiful pictures around Croatia, so I'm curious about that. And then the other thing is I'm curious if you're doing similar work as you were doing in London or in England. So let's talk about your social media has a different look now. So tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I'm a social media professional, so I try to like up level also my social media channels and also do it for my clients. So basically, I'm still doing the same area. I'm still in personal branding and LinkedIn marketing, but I'm much more focused also on image building, on this like identity shift and everything that I offer also for my clients. Because what I realized is that they achieve a lot better results when they change and shift their entire identity, and then they can step up into a greater version of themselves. And similarly, like 10 years ago and 5 years ago, the first client I've done it successfully was me.
Yeah.
So I'm just sharing my insights and everything that I've gone through. So basically, I've been traveling a lot. I've been trying to live this like perfect lifestyle that I've chosen for myself, and that includes a lot of like working with different people from different backgrounds, working internationally. So I do a lot of online work, so I don't travel as much as I used to. But through Europe, I have a lot of like meetings, and a lot of I combine it with the pleasure. So basically, that's why my social media is all like glowing with travel pictures and everything else. And I've also invested a lot of time in my own, I would say, self-development, my own personal journey, also taking care more of myself and doing a lot more like meditation, education, and different things, and also taking care of my health, which was, I think, I mean, during COVID, all of us like had this sudden realization that we are like overworked and that we lack meaning behind everything that we do. So that was also a big shift for me. So being in London, I love the period I've spent there, but then I realized like a lot of my career and a lot of things that I've done up to my 30th birthday, it was much more about like ambitious goals and like external things to achieve. And then what I realized is like, am I really like enjoying life? Am I really like living? And that's when I started living truly my life and doing all those things like that were on my own list, like traveling, personal development, finding time to actually be happy from the inside, not just from the outside.
So, if I can ask a question, what would you say are the biggest things that you've realised don't really matter to you in the last like 3 or 4 years? Because we often talk about what we want to do and what we want to add, but what have you realised? Oh, that's actually not something I need to do or focus on at all.
So basically, I was always like for I would say titles, like big clients, big brands. I wanted to have like I don't know, 2-3 bestseller books and everything. I've got one, but I realized like, what does that actually mean for me? You know, am I really enjoying my everyday life? You know, every hour in a day, or am I just like pushing myself to go after the big thing and bigger from the bigger thing?
Yeah.
And what I realized that like I did get into a room with like large corporations and big brands and everything. And what I came to realize that I was like constantly trying to prove myself and, you know, constantly chasing someone's approval. And then I realized like, this is so exhausting. Like, why am I doing it at all? Because it's so much more satisfying when you're working with an actual person. So it may be a CEO from that company, but that person reached out to me first, and they were like, okay, I need help from the inside out. I need the transformation from the inside out. And that's much more satisfying because you see your impact, you see the things that you do. It's not just like I work with this super exciting, like super huge international brand. It's much more like, look, the impact that I've done behind it. So that's the thing, like much more internal than external.
Do you have clients in Croatia? Are they around the world? Where do you get the majority of your clients?
So it's both. I kind of love the mix because I learn also a lot from my clients. So my clients are like, I would say 70% maybe are coaches, like mostly leadership coaches, and 30% are like corporate executives. And what I come to realize is that after COVID, a lot of people from corporate realized, okay, my title is not enough. I need to build a personal brand, because one day or another, I will maybe lose my job, I will switch careers, and then I'm like nobody. I'm basically starting from scratch. And they started investing much more. So mostly they like reach out to me based on recommendation, based on networking events. So I do have like a mix of like local and international clients. I've expanded a lot in like New Zealand, Australia, which was a new interesting area for me, new interesting part of the world, which is a bit challenging due to time zones, but you kind of enjoy it. And because every client also makes me grow and makes me like expand much more into a higher, bigger version of myself.
Yeah. You might notice when I put down here corporate trainer and marketing expert, I basically grabbed that from your LinkedIn profile. So hopefully you update your LinkedIn profile. So let's talk about the corporate training element of it. What would you say are the essential things to look for? If somebody wants to hire a corporate trainer, maybe you, maybe somebody else, what makes a good corporate trainer in terms of just personality and ability and things to look for?
Sure. Make sure it's somebody who's authentic, who has the authority, and that people are actually ready to hear the message. Because what I come to realize is that some trainer is like currently popular and they hire them, but people don't see them as authentic, don't see them maybe as somebody who practice what they preach. And then it's a wasted time and it's wasted resources. So basically what I've come to realize here is that a lot of people have followed my transformation journey, my career transformation and personal transformation. So whatever I do and say, the methodology and all the tools and techniques, because they see me, they see what I've done, it's much more, it builds trust and authority. So that's the thing that I would say that gives me the biggest like competitive advantage in it. But what it's much more efficient for the company is that people are ready for it. If they are not ready, then it's like totally waste of time.
Okay, so who is your ideal client?
I would say somebody who's ready to work on their career and their life from like inside out. So I do get approached by a lot of clients who just want the exterior part. They just want like to be to have like great PR, to be speakers on the big conferences, to have all those external factors. And then I realized like, okay, are you ready to go through the internal process? Face your own fears, face your own obstacles, face all those things that make you like maybe get away from the visibility and everything. So or try to fake it and build like a fake ego, fake persona that is like super successful, but at the same time you don't feel that, you don't live that. And that's when they're like, oh no, I just want the result. And then like, we're not a good match, because what is the long term? It's really comes from the inside. So if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, if you're not comfortable to be interviewed, then you can do a lot of this like training, a lot of things, but if you don't feel you're deserving of that spot in a show, in that spot in any type of media, then you will sabotage yourself. And I see a lot of clients do that. They do like great short-term result, and then they just like fade away because it's uncomfortable. They don't believe they're deserving of that, or they don't see themselves, or they put this like fake image, they build a fake image, and then people meet them and see it's like there's a like completely different persona. It's all like basically fear of being visible.
I have a bit of a backup question. What if someone isn't confident or doesn't feel good about themselves? Where do you tell them to go first, or what is the first step for you and them?
So basically, I always start with all of my clients. I always start with their core like talents, core abilities. I kind of want them to rationalize and see all those things that they achieved, that they've done, like rationally. I'm not like building up their confidence to make them feel like they can conquer the world. I'm just like trying to give them a realistic like market picture of their talents, their skills, like where are the most valuable. And also the big part that I focus on is values. So if we're not aware of our own core values, we will end up attracting and getting inside opportunities that are not right for us. They are not right for our growth. We will get this like shiny job title and all those external things, but at the same time, we won't be happy because we're in an environment that doesn't share our values, or something that we will always be like drained and won't be happy no matter what we get. So the two like core elements that are internal, I always start with like, what's my zone of genius, and the second of all is like, what are my values? And when you know those two things, then you look at the market, then you look like for your customers, then you try to adapt your core messages to them. But if you don't know yourself, if you don't know what you're offering, you will always be adapting to the market, and then you will be always like chasing something. And what people don't like is that they see that you're not consistent, that you're like switching lanes all the time, and it doesn't build trust. So that's what I'm trying to avoid with a good strategy that comes like from the inside and it's authentic.
Yeah. This actually kind of tallies up with a question I was going to try and articulate. I hope you can understand what I'm trying to say here, but I've always got the impression that you're, at least from a business point of view, you're much, much more famous, so to speak, in Croatia, in Croatian, than you are to the rest of the world.
Yes.
How do you cope with the kind of being, I know, because you had a best-selling book in Croatia, and obviously because it's a separate language to English, where the rest of the world, in the English world anyway, is probably like, we don't know who this person is. How do you cope with that kind of fame in one area, but then you go somewhere else and nobody has any idea who you are? That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I would say it's a humbling experience at one point, but at the second point, it's like all our skills are kind of universal. So maybe people don't know my name, but once they get to start like talking to me, they realize I do get them, and I do like, I'm empathetic. I have those also like marketing skills, communication skills. I have business skills, so I understand and I can reach their like, I would say, pain points. I can identify their pain points, and I can find a quick solution for that. So I really had no, like, I would say, issue getting clients in new markets. So, but I would just say of course, it's so much easier when people know you. But I've invested, of course, I've invested my, I would say, entire life here in Croatia. So it's normal and logical that people know me here more.
Let's go back. Let's do a backup question to what Tim asked, because our viewers may not know that you wrote a book and what this book is about. So tell us about the book. I know it's you speak Croatian in Croatia, correct? Is that okay? Sometimes I mess that up. So it's Croatian, but tell us about the book and why you wrote it.
Yeah, so the book is called Be the Boss of Your Own Life, and it's basically like a year of transformation, like all those things you need to go through when you want to like switch up your maybe career or get a business or try to do whatever you want to do differently in your life, like owning the process and taking responsibility for your own life. And it's basically has been written. So I had my own blog here, and it was written like based on the most popular articles that I wrote, blog posts that I wrote. So I combined them and I made it into a one story that will be helpful, but it was written like in real time while I was going through some challenges and while I was going through some obstacles, and the readers can see like the growth through the entire year. And that's something that it has been really valuable for the readers, because they realized I could really like describe how they are feeling, and they could like follow through the process. So it wasn't like I was speaking like from a distance or from a higher place. It was something that was so relatable for them. And it's still like I've published it, I would say 3 or maybe 4 years ago now. and it's still selling super fast. So that's a good point for me, and a pressure to work on the second book. But I'm trying now to focus on the external part. So it will come when I'm ready.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So gonna swing to a different tangent now. I don't know if that makes sense, but let's say that somebody's visiting Croatia for the first time, and you've been put in charge of the Croatian tourist office. Where in Croatia should they visit, and what would you say? What makes Croatia special?
Oh, pick me. I want to go. Pick me.
Definitely. So you're just like using me for the tips and tricks. It's okay. I will give them to you. So basically, what makes Croatia special, it's like it has really great natural places, and it's like untapped nature in its like purest form. And it's so like stunning because it's like all mother nature, and that's the best part ever. The second part is that we are really like have a great food, and we use all the natural ingredients, and it was all like fresh and tasty. And that's the thing that I was like struggling the most while I was in UK or US. It's like the ingredients are not like always so like super fresh and tasty, and that's the thing that we have here. And from the places to visit, it really depends on your personality. So it really can attract like younger people because it has a lot of great festivals, music festivals, parties, great places, islands to party on. But at the same time, if you want to explore the culture, you can also have great amazing cities and places and museums. So it really depends like what you really like. For me, like the biggest value is like the nature. And so I love the coast. I love also the Plitvice lakes. It's really like Dubrovnik also. It's really I have no words to explain it, but it's when you see the natural creations of the like mother nature, it's like really wow, breathtaking.
So are you still traveling at all? Are you traveling outside of Croatia? And where have you been in recent times?
So I think my last trip was in Austria, then before that Germany, and I was for my birthday I was in Italy. But yeah, countries that are very close to Croatia because of the like COVID restrictions and everything else that was before. So I'm still like kind of reluctant to go a bit more like farther away because I'm like still like not sure of the situation and everything due to my work here and all the responsibilities I have. But yeah, I tried to do like, I don't know, 4 to 7 days like trips, and it was really like refreshing and fulfilling to just move. And I was like during the last year I was like traveling, I would say like 3 to 4 cities like in a month, and it was so exciting. And it's something that I've like put on my, I would say like dream life or vision board, and to travel all the time and to work from anywhere and to meet all amazing people from all the world. So that's something that I'm actually like really grateful that I'm living now.
Oh, good.
Do you feel that living abroad made you appreciate Croatia more as a place?
Definitely, yes, because what we have here is much more like I cannot explain it. I mean, it's just different feeling, much more traditional, much more like closer to, I would say, relational. In I would say living abroad, when you're doing business, it's much more transactional. So you're just like, doing business, and that's business only. Here, it's like your clients become your friends. They become like so close, like your family. You tell each other everything, and it's something like that that gives back like during, I would say, like 5 to 10 years. So it's not just like one time collaboration. And I have like client that I've worked with like 10 years ago, and that client is still recommending me to the other clients. And that's a good, and I mean that made me like appreciate having great relationships with all people in my surroundings, and not to have, because of course that's all over the world. I mean, social media, and we feel like we're connected with a lot of people, but we're basically not. So what I love here is that I can really like go for a coffee and have meaningful conversation, put down my phone, and it's like those simple things. It's not something like extra luxurious, but at the same time, it's really like something that aligns with my, I would say, core values.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel more relaxed in Croatia than you did in the bigger city, that in London or elsewhere?
I would say I feel the same. I mean, I was also relaxed in London because I'm an explorer, so I loved being like all over the London and exploring different parts and culturally, and I felt home. Really, I felt like home. So it's not something about like the size of the city. It's like how you feel in it. And I really loved it. From the first time, actually, I visited London, I felt like home, and it was a great experience for me. So I would definitely like go back. Maybe I have no idea what the future holds for me, but yeah, maybe I'll come back.
Okay. So we should talk about, I was thinking we should talk about business really again at the end of the interview, but I'm struggling to think about, well, let's just ask a general question then. Just in general in business, because you've been working in marketing and business for a long time now, I guess.
Yes.
What is your one piece of advice for somebody who maybe is in a boring job that they don't like and they want to start a business, or they want to do something with their life? What would be your one piece of advice to them?
I would say always keep it simple, because we tend to overcomplicate things. We tend to try to think of something that doesn't exist. And that's a long way, because we always keep ourselves stuck and keep us in like being perfectionists in everything. And that's why we delay all the things that we want to do. I would say just like try to tap into your own needs, maybe something that haven't been met on the market, something that doesn't exist. Because if you look at the most successful businesses and also consultants and people around the world, they tapped into something that wasn't there when they needed it. I also started my business that way. You know, there hasn't been like I would say online blog or a community that was targeting millennial women. It was much more focused on like executives. There wasn't like here in Croatia locally, and nobody spoke publicly about burnout, about having this crazy unrealistic expectations. And I was the first one to speak about it publicly. And why? Because it's risky, you're vulnerable, you put yourself out there. And of course, so always try to think of something, because they say like our ideal client is ourselves like 5 years ago. And always try to think of something that you would want to exist, or something that it's like, I don't know, your family needs something. So a lot of research also have been done, like clinical research, because somebody's like family member had a disease that hasn't been like solved or something. So always try to tap in something that is close to you, because it really can be your gift.
Where can potential clients and anyone who wants to hear more about you find you in social media?
So I'm basically on all social media, but my favorite one is LinkedIn, definitely. So so follow me and find me on LinkedIn, and also Instagram, Facebook. I'm everywhere basically, but something that it's really the cornerstone of my, I would say, career was LinkedIn, because when I started my business, I had zero contacts. I was like nowhere. I had zero also on my bank account, and LinkedIn really helped me expand my network and to build like a solid foundation that I'm still like getting my clients from there. So it's like zero investment and a lot of gains, but at the same time, you just need to invest your time in it and be authentic on it.
Yeah. I deliberately excluded your LinkedIn expert thing from the LinkedIn thing, only because we've had so many LinkedIn experts on this show over the years that I'm like, well, I want to focus you on something else. So yes, that was my deliberate exclusion from the text down there.
I don't know, Tim. Maybe eventually all this LinkedIn will sink in, because it's still somehow my brain doesn't click with LinkedIn. I know I need to learn it. So maybe
I think it's kind of the happening platform at the moment, to be honest, in a way, because Instagram seems to be killing itself by putting adverts in every second post and thing, which is a shame because it's probably my favorite platform. Facebook seems to be wasting lots of money on a metaverse thing that nobody wants to go on, and apparently is causing them all sorts of financial problems. Twitter seems to be going towards the right way, but then you've got Elon Musk trying to take it over, but not really being able to afford to take it over, but he signed something so he has to take it over. And yeah, anyway, enough of me commenting about the social media platform.
So LinkedIn is where I need to spend more time and just keep kind of watching everyone probably to learn.
When you look at the stats on LinkedIn, it's like only 1% of the users are like creators.
Okay.
So when you realize that, you know, like, oh my God, if I start creating content, you know, I can be like, I can have 99% of the people, I can have them like reading my content, and I can put my expertise out there. So it's not just like being present. It's also about like putting yourself out there, building your own brand, just getting out, you know, all the amazing things you do. And it's not like in self-bragging way, but it's much more in like, okay, I want to be visible. I want this work to be visible because then I can have a lot bigger impact.
I think the reason that I'm still exploring it and the reason why I haven't been more vocal on it is because I remember a time, and maybe it's changed, hopefully it's changed. It was a little bit intimidating because the only thing I saw were CEOs and like people trying to build high profile businesses that I'm not.
Sure. COVID has changed everything, has changed LinkedIn a lot. Now LinkedIn like has a lot of, I would say, like students, a lot of entry level, also executives, but also the topics there are not so like so strict and so business wise. It's much more like let's keep a healthy balance, work-life balance. Let's nurture our values. Let's talk about much more about our meaning and our purpose at work. So it's much more soft. So I do get where that's coming from. So a lot of my clients also had issues with that because they didn't resonate with I don't know, post that was like, look at my diploma, look at my like, you know, achievements and everything else. But now it's so much more. It's a lot more about like, what are your business experience? What can you share from the business processes, from different like meetings, from different people? Like, what are your lessons learned? If somebody who's like entry level, if they were reading your content, like what can they take from it? And that establishes you as an expert in your field.
Or is there a place there for creatives? Because I think that's more what I'm asking. Is there a place for creatives, people who are maybe in the arts world or creative or workshop builders, things like that, versus the CEO of a major corporation?
It's so much more relaxed. You can just like follow it. Also, it depends who you follow, who you're connecting with, but you can connect with a lot of like important like investors, also like somebody who can provide you with resources for some art workshop you want to do or something else. So, but I think it's much more to like bringing it to the general public to make them aware of the great things that you do and get their interest. Because I did have like a lot of clients who were lawyers and they were like, oh my God, my content is boring. You know, how can I make it interesting to people? And how can I make it approachable? And what I've done is like, I don't know, they were like in IP, and I was like, okay, try to get some great examples of like, or great like cases of like protecting the intellectual property, and it was really, really interesting. And then they suddenly became very extremely popular, and people were like associating their name with IP because they were the ones who introduced it to the public. I would say it's not general public, it's, I would say, like business audience.
Okay. Well, I think we've. I was worried you weren't going to get your full 30 minutes, but we've now gone to 34 minutes. So it's all worked out. Okay. So thanks so much for being on the show. And this is where I try to work out where the outro is.
Thank you. It's always good to chat with you. And thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming, Tanya, and thanks for the people who watch in the replay and who watch live. Hey, bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
This is what God requires.